the major concern becomes Sam Jenkins. What can you tell us about the injury and what you've learned and what you could have done with him tonight?
Look, he was obviously he rolled his ankle. The report was that or the report at the moment is it's a low-grade strain. So we're pretty hopeful that he, with treatment, could be available next week. Once he came off, the decision from the doctor was probably a no-risk policy, which is wise in the circumstances. And so we'll hopefully he can rehab that and give himself every chance for next week.
Okay. How good was it that Jenkins could just slip into that pretty quickly, that role, and you could keep the attack moving as well?
Yeah, look, that's probably something we've spoken about throughout the year. If we were to lose Source for a period of the game, the options we had, and Josh stepped up, sort of carried the load in the ruck, but he got some help from a few other guys on the way through, which allowed us to keep some pressure around the ruck contest and around the clearances.
Was Kyle Hartigan surprised that he was asked to go forward?
Yeah, well, we spoke about that in the second quarter as to what our options looking forward, and when the way the game was being played, we felt when Josh was in the ruck, or when one of the other guys, I think Tom Lynch spent some time up there as well, we felt like we needed another tool in our forward half, and so we debated who that would be, and we settled on Hardo, and it was good for him to go forward, and he kicked a goal, and boys were pretty happy about that.
How'd you feel about the end and giving up those 3 goals, which,
Yeah.
I mean, for the short term it takes you out of 4th spot. We don't know what it does in the long term, but how do you feel about not closing out a game?
Yeah, it's probably not so much about the percentage and bits and pieces. It's more probably just our ability to stay to the way we wanted to play. I thought for the majority of the night we played some good footy. We've still got some areas we'll keep working on, but the last 5 minutes was probably just disappointing. There's a few breakdowns and some things in there which will form part of our review as to how that occurred and avoid that in the future.
At the start, in the first quarter, Essendon played one-on-one on you, played pretty tightly and forcing you to kick sideways and backwards, and which was obviously frustrating for the fans and that. But was that part of your process as far as learning to play more against one-on-one and developing your style?
Yeah, it's probably less instructional than just the way the game sort of flowed, and there were times tonight where Essendon had even numbers. There were times where they had numbers behind the ball, and really that's why it's important the players have a pretty clear understanding of the way we want to move the ball and the options they have with the ball. And at times we had to go slow and wide. That's credit to Essendon. Other times we were able to use some handball and really move the ball quite efficiently through the midfield area.
Mitch McGovern's got a pretty serious set of hands on him. Have you seen him improve quite significantly this year?
Oh, look, he's a first-year player who's come on the scene, and he's had some good games. He's had, as all first-year players, had some days where he hasn't probably done what he wanted to. I was really pleased with Mitch tonight in the fact that he attacked the ball really hard in the air, which is his strength, and he's back to some of the pressure he's been putting on down forward.
Well, from what you learned last week, what does this game give you a genuine belief that you've made some adjustments, corrections, or better understanding from the players? Well,
all up for us today. It was a really good day for the footy club. Our sample team won and won well, which is great. So it keeps pressure on for spots. And the way we played today for periods, we saw some more signs. It's without being disrespectful to Essendon, it's also against the opposition we face. So it's probably hard to read too much into it. We'll make sure that in review we're really thorough again about what we did well and the areas we've got to keep working on, and we'll continue to do that. We've just got 4 weeks of the season to go, and each game becomes important from here on in.
Even taking apart Essendon from the equation, is there something there that you felt, yep, they've learned it now, even from that game?
I think there's always something every week you take away that there's learning, and learning can be big steps, little steps. I mean, it's continual, and as I said, it's not only the players, it's the coaches. It's probably flexibility today. We had a few guys go through the ruck as well. So each game and each scenario provides a different challenge, and today we found a way, and it's always going to be a slightly different way, and they learn from that, and they build a clearer picture of how we want to play and what's going to give us the best chance of success.
So how are you going to address that last 5 minutes, because it could happen again and be more costly than it seems at the moment? How are you going to address that with the group?
We'll look at that in the context of how we want to defend as an overall, not necessarily in isolation. it's always difficult when you're in a situation where you're 100 points in front. As much as we say keep going, the mentality of players at times can drop away. And we made some errors in that last 5 minutes, which cost us a little bit of percentage. But overall, for what do we have, 45,000 people that turned up here on a Sunday afternoon. It was great for the footy club and a really strong win.
Numbers can always be just numbers at times, but do you look at those clearance numbers and say, got to drill down into those and understand them a bit more?
We look
or is that purely from the ruck situation?
It's probably a little bit from the ruck situation, but we look at every facet of our game every week. And some weeks it's going well and we move on. Other weeks is we need to tweak this, we need to look at that. So there's an ongoing look at all phases of our game. That's just being thorough in our review process and how we can learn and improve.
Yeah, but in this context, does it send a red flag for you, or do you?
Sorry, in the context of
this game and those numbers of this game, is there a red flag?
Are you saying from the clearance viewpoint? Not really. I think at the end of it, there's a couple of components in there. It's also our structure at the ball and our structure away from the ball, and we tend to look at it in a totality, not necessarily just in raw numbers. Sometimes the raw numbers just can give you a feel that you've lost clearances. In actual fact, there's a bigger game within there. It's the quality of those clearances you concede. It's the field position you may concede. It's also how you're able to effectively manage your winning of the clearance and manage losing the clearance.
Talk about the mental state of players, when they get past 100 points or, to keep going. Is that sort of drop-off, is that inevitable, or is it about minimising it?
Well, we'd like to think not, and it's certainly not something we're coaching, but and again, it's something we'll discuss with the playing group. They now clearly understand the importance of playing our style of footy and playing it for the whole 120 minutes, and that's what we're coaching. And we went away from that just for the last 5 minutes today, and it's cost us 3 goals late, but as I said, off the backdrop of a really good, solid win.
I know you're confident about Jacobs playing, but just suppose he doesn't play. Yeah. You likely to keep, that ruck set up, or bring in 2 or 1 or 2?
Yeah, we'll have to weigh that up at match committee. If Sam doesn't end up playing, we've elevated Riley O'Brien, who's been playing well in the SANFL, and he's another one who's there and is available. And if Sam doesn't play, there's a fair chance that he would possibly get an opportunity.
You've spoken about, I suppose, the way that you play not being necessarily too instructional. I mean, is there sort of a strong sense of communication on field between the players? You look at some of the other teams at the moment, good teams who aren't necessarily communicating very well on the field.
Yep.
You sort of feel that that's going well for you at the moment?
Oh, I think so. I mean, one of the things that, all sides you want is you want that communication, and you want it between not only the groups or the lines, but you want it between all the players out there. And that's certainly something we're really strong on with our playing group, is for them to actually have good ownership of what we're trying to do out there, because they're the ones out there doing it. I mean, we get an opportunity to talk to them pre-game and at the breaks, but they're the ones who are there carrying out the instructions. So the best we can educate them, the best we can give them the knowledge they need, and then give them clarity of messages on game day, allows them to go out and actually get it done.
And I suppose how much does it come down to having strong on-field sort of leaders in each line?
I think that's pretty well recognised across the industry as vital. That's the best teams have great leaders who can sense the moment and can actually carry out what needs to be done at the time based upon the philosophy of the team.
Don, did you work Taylor Walker at all today, or has he not done anything this weekend?
No, he did a light session this morning, and I think he'll be up running probably as early as tomorrow. And again, talking to the doctor, we're hoping he's going to be, and he has no soreness at the moment, which is great. So we'd hope he'd train for us Wednesday and be ready to go next week.
Any other injuries today?
Not that I know of. Got anything else, Shuts, at all?
No.
No.
It's good.
That's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Go on.